It depends. One of the biggest things I've found is that you have to be adaptable at all times to change with whatever is going on. You know, maybe you have something planned and a student comes and they're not prepared, and boy, you got to be able to switch things up. And I've also found too that, like for instance, you got to know your age group, you've got to know your surroundings. I love the resources that Beth shared. Those are really great. And even sitting there, you know, I'm like, oh, those crossword puzzles are great, but I don't know, would that work for me? Well, you know, if I'm coaching A-League, I'm not going to use crossword puzzles, but they could be really effective with experienced teams. They could be really effective with junior high teams. So you have to know the age group you're dealing with. Creative practices, you want to incorporate games. You don't want to leave kids just sitting at the table for like 2 hours straight, just like question number 562 for 10 points. You know, you're going to lose them so fast. One of the things I really like to do, and I bring every quiz camp year, the kids love them, is, and I'm always looking for them at yard sales. I'll just bring a couple up here. And this is good. I mean, if you're getting ready for nationals, you're not going to really pull this stuff out very much. But in the, you know, getting ready for league meets, or again with junior hires, I like to get preschool games and incorporate them into practice. It's really, the kids love it. For instance, and you can just make up the rules as you go along. One of the things I found at yard sale is a mobile Connect 4. You get a Connect 4 out and you tell a team, all right, listen, you get a question right, you can, you know, put a piece in and you get a question wrong, you know, the other team can, or whatever rules you want to make up. 3's a quiz out, oh, everybody's got a quiz out before someone can come back in. You could just make rules up depending on your situation. You would be so surprised how kids come alive when it's time to play Connect 4. You really would. We saw last night in our room, where's Patty? Am I telling the truth? Yes. Debbie's saying yes. Another one that I have here in my magic bag. This is a memory game, but this is Oreos. This is just a memory game I found, and it's cool because then they like to get Oreos. But you know, you put them upside down, you get a question right, you can play this individually or team, however you want to do it. You can try to make a match. They love it, and it keeps them engaged. It teaches them a different skill. Some other skills besides just answering questions. They're going to have to remember what the matches are. They're going to have to think about, you know, have that endurance for memorizing, the focus for that. Even last night playing Connect 4, I had, in our room, I had one team that was working together really well, talking, communicating, strategizing. The other team, there was a bunch of strong little people, and they were all arguing over where to put the chip, and then one would say something, the next one would say, no, and then the third one would just drop it wherever they want, and it was like, what's going on here? This is a true story. And we got done, and I said, let's talk about what I just saw as a team here, like, you know, and we had a little discussion about team, like, how do we function as a team? And we had a discussion about communication and working together, and not just like, you know, ignoring each other, but listening to each other. So even playing something like this, there can be other issues that present themselves that you can talk about and say, hey, this is not just about answering questions, but there's other team concepts going on here. Another game I have, this sounds so silly, but I feel like Mary Poppins just pulling stuff out of my mouth. Candyland.
That's the best one.
Candyland, you know, oh, they love it when they're done here, they pick Queen Frostine, and then, you know, here you get Mr. Plumpy or whatever. But, you know, again, you can adapt your rules as necessary, because, hey, you get it right, you get it wrong, the other team automatically gets it. Or, you know, last night I wanted to really let people not have a fear of failing when they get a question. So I said, listen, you get it wrong, there's no penalty. We'll just move on. Because I didn't want kids to be like, I'm going to miss it and I'm going to mess up for my team. So depending, you have to be adaptable. You've got to know what your objectives are for that practice. I want to really help the shy quizzer. Well, then you're not going to give penalties for missing things and stuff like that. You want to encourage, give incentive for them to try. Okay, they've got to really shape up on their interruptions. Well, then you're going to make rules for those games based on those needs that you have and the things that you can identify. I've also found that overall general incentives work well for contests and things. You know, hey, if you have so many chapters done by such and such a time, you know, we'll take a trip to Sky Zone. In fact, I have students coming back this year to quiz that haven't participated in 2 years. And when they did, a couple years ago, they were in junior high, but we did this thing for a tournament, instead of for a tournament, we went to Sky Zone on the way to a tournament, no big deal, but when they came back, they said, I just want to go to Sky Zone again. That's what they remembered, is that we took the time to go to Sky Zone, and they had that incentive. So when you can do those fun things and give incentives, whether it's a trip, or let's go get pizza, or candy works great. So I'd say the basics are, you've got to tailor it to the age of the group you have. What speaks to a 6th grader isn't going to speak to a 12th grader. So you've got to know what you're dealing with and what's going to motivate them. You've got to be adaptable, depending on your objectives as a coach, and make up rules for the day that can apply around that to help meet your objectives and draw that out of the students. And you always want to be creating an atmosphere that is team building, so that if you see things come up, because competition will bring out what's inside of a person. And so you want to discover that, and sometimes it's ugliness, and you know, then the coach or the Holy Spirit has to deal with that. And sometimes both. And so you want to bring those things out, so again, that you can just, in love, deal with some of those things.